Okay guys, this is the MSA unit review that we did on Friday, and now here is the video to go over the steps one by one. Alright, for number one, what we're going to do, actually for 1 through 3, we're going to fill out the equation, table, graph, rate, and y-intercept. One of these is going to be provided for you, and it is going to be up to you to provide the rest. So, under equations. So for number one, since the table is provided for us, what I can do is figure out what the rate is going to be. Okay, so what I did is I kind of just filled in the blanks here because we have some missing numbers on the x side and missing numbers on the y side. So if we start at -1, y is going to be 1. And if we look at the rate here, it says at 4 it's going to be at 6, at 6 it's going to be 8. So that means that when x is 5, y is going to be 7. And then I just filled it out from there. So when x is 0, y is going to be 2. Okay, so that is our hint to find the y-intercept. When x is 0, y is 2. So let's go on over to the y-intercept. The y-intercept is going to be 2. Okay. And when we take a look at the rate, we see that y changes by, let's see, it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the rate is going to be 1. Okay, and now that we know the rate, we know the y-intercept, we can go ahead and either do the equation or the graph, but I'll do the graph first. Alright, so when x is -1, so we start at the origin, which is 0, 0, so when x is -1, y is going to be 1. And so we're going to put a big old dot there. When x is 0, y is 2, so I'll put a big dot there. When x is, let's see, 1, y is 3, and then so on. So here's the pattern here of how I'm going to plot my lines. And then all I need to do is draw a line there, and I've completed my graph. Okay, so the equation is going to be y equals, and since the rate is 1, all we need to do is put an x here, plus 2. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Alright, for number 2, we are just given a graph. So when we look at this graph, the key to figuring out is, first of all, the graph is going right through the origin, and I know that the origin, the ordered pair, is 0, 0. So in knowing that, I know that when x is 0, y is 0. So that means that the y-intercept is going to be 0. So these are all the clues that I can get just from seeing that the line passes through the point of origin. Okay, so next, I'm going to see where the line passes through different intersections. So here's one of the intersections. So what I need to do is go over -1. So -1 is going to be on the x side, and I go up 2. So an ordered pair, another ordered pair is when x is -1, y is going to be 2. And it looks like when x is -2, y is 4. Okay. And then I can go down here and see, okay, when x is 1, y is -2. And when x is 2, y is -4. Alright, so we have a good basis here for our table so that we can figure out the rate of change. So let's see, y goes from 4 to 2 to 0 to -2 to -4. So it looks like our rate of change is going to be -2. like that. Alright, so we have our y-intercept, we have our rate of change, the graph is already done for us, and then we have the table, so all that's left is the equation. The equation is going to end up being y equals negative 2x, because that's the rate of change, and we don't say plus 0, because that's the y-intercept, we just leave it alone. So y is going to equal negative 2x. Alright, number 3. In this case, the equation is given to us, y equals 2x plus 3. Alright, so we can figure out the table just from looking at the equation. So when x is 0, according to equation, y is going to be 3. When x is 1, we just replace x with 1, so 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, so y will be 5. When x is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7, y is 7. When x is 3, y is going to be, let's see, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Alright, from here we can make the graph. So when x is 0, y is 3. So we're going to start here. When x is 1, y is 5. Okay. When x is 2, y is 7. And then when x is 3, y is 9. So that's enough to give us an indicator of where the line is going to be. So that's the graph. And let's look at our rate of change. Our rate of change is, let's see, at the y, 3 to 5 to 7 to 9, our rate of change is going to be 2. And we can also tell that by looking at the equation as well, 2. And the y-intercept is 3, because here's the y-intercept here. Okay, let's go on to number 4 here. As the x values increase by 1, and remember I mentioned in class, the x value, you need to figure it out as it's increasing by 1. The y values are going to, and it looks like they're increasing by 5. So the rate is going to be 5. The y-intercept is 0, because when x is 0, y is 0. So that makes our equation y equals 5, which is the rate of change, x. Alright. For number 5, as the x values increase by 1, now even though I don't have, it skips from 3 to 5 to 7 to 9 to 11, you can fill in what x is going to be at 4, what x is going to be at 6, what x is going to be at 8, right here. Okay, so as the x values increase by 1, the y values are going to decrease by 3. All right. So if it's decreasing by 3, the rate is going to be negative 3. The y-intercept. Okay, so now we have to figure out when x is 0, what is y going to equal? So we just need to fill in the chart just a little bit. Because when x is 2, y is going to be negative 3. When x is 1, y is going to be 0. So when x is 0, y is going to be 3. So the y-intercept is 3, which makes our equation be y equals negative 3x plus 3. Alrighty. Let's go on to number 6. Big A's Bike Rental charges $100 plus $20 per bike to rent bikes. Little Chip's Rental Shop charges $50 plus $35 per bike. Alright, so for A, if you plan on renting 3 bikes, which company should you rent from? So let's figure out the cost per bike rental. Okay, the equations that I came up with per company is for Big A's, it's going to be the total cost, which I put as C, is going to equal 20B, because it's $20 per bike, plus 100, which is the initial fee. The equation I came up with for little chips was C of the total cost is going to equal 35B, because $35 per bike, plus an initial charge of $50. Alright, so now all I need to do is just plug in the number inside the equation. So for renting 3 bikes with big A's, see 3 times 20 is 60. 60 plus 100 is 160. So that's $160 for big A. For little chips, 35 times 3 is 105, plus 50 is 155. So it's going to be $155 from little chips. So you should rent from little chips, okay? Because they are cheaper. Okay, so if you plan on renting 7 bicycles, which company should you rent from? Okay, let's plug it in. So 7 times 20 is going to be 140, plus the 100 is going to be 240. Okay. And then 35 times 7 is going to be 245, plus 50 is going to make it $295. So it looks like the cheaper company when you rent 7 bikes is going to be Big A's, which is $240. Alrighty, for number 7. For which equation does the point 20, 60 lie on the graph? Okay, so what you do is you are going to take this 20, which is going to be represented by the N, and to see if it totals 60, which is represented by the C. So let's take a look here. Let's take one of them. Okay, if we say that 20 times 1.5 right here, that's going to equal 30, plus 30 is 60. So that is going to work out. So it's this one right here. So if we put 20 in the place of N, and then we add it together, it's going to equal 60. Okay, for which equation, for number 8, for which equation does the point 10, 74 lie on the graph? Okay, let's look at this middle one here. Let's see, 4.2 times 10 is 42. 42 plus 32 is going to be 74. So this is the equation where the point 10, 74 is. Alright, for number 9. For number 9, you're going to be solving for x. So a is 3x plus 5 equals 4x minus 10. Alrighty, so let's start here. 3x minus 4x equals negative 10 minus 5. So 3x minus 4x is negative x, and that equals, see, negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. And then we need to divide by negative 1 to both sides. So that gives us that x equals 15. Okay, for b, we can do this, let's see here, 10 plus 8 equals 6x minus 4x. 10 plus 8 is 18, and that equals, see, 6x minus 4x is 2x. Then we divide both sides by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9, and that equals x, because 2x divided by 2 is x. And that is the end of this review.